Some numbers in racing stop belonging to a car. They start belonging to a person. The number 8 belonged to Kyle Busch, and this week, Richard Childress Racing made a decision about that number that stopped the entire NASCAR world cold. But before we get there, if you somehow missed what happened Thursday, May 21st, 2026, we need to go back and say it plainly. Kyle Busch is gone. He was 41 years old. He had been rushed to a hospital earlier that same day after collapsing at the General Motors training facility in Concord, North Carolina. A 911 call that surfaced afterward revealed he had been on the bathroom floor, coughing up blood, struggling to breathe. He was hospitalized, and just hours later, the Busch family, Richard Childress Racing, and NASCAR released a joint statement confirming what nobody was ready to hear. Kyle Thomas Busch had died. Severe pneumonia had progressed into sepsis. The complications came fast and they were overwhelming. 3 days before he was supposed to race the Coca-Cola 600 at Charlotte Motor Speedway, one of the greatest drivers this sport has ever produced, was gone. The racing world went silent. Dale Earnhardt Jr. posted that no one can deny Kyle was one of the greatest in NASCAR history and that his heart was broken for the family. Joe Gibbs Racing, the organization where Kyle built the bulk of his legacy, called him a fierce competitor, an incredible teammate, and most importantly, a devoted husband, father, and son. Ricky Stenhouse Jr. said there just aren't words for a day like that. The grief was real and it was everywhere. Then on Friday, May 22nd, Richard Childress Racing made their announcement, and it was exactly the kind of response you hope an organization delivers in a moment like this. RCR confirms they are suspending the use of the number 8 car immediately, starting at Charlotte Motor Speedway this weekend and continuing for every race going forward. That car will carry the number 33 on its door panels instead. The number 8 isn't being reassigned. It isn't being sold or handed to the next driver in line. It is being put away, carefully, intentionally, for one specific reason. In their official statement, RCR wrote that Kyle Busch was instrumental in designing the stylized version of the number 8 that became synonymous with his name and with his entire run at the organization. That number became part of his identity. Rowdy Nation, the loyal, passionate fan base that followed Kyle through every win and every controversy and every polarizing moment across 2 decades, recognized that car on sight. It meant something. So RCR said plainly that no one can carry it forward to the level Kyle did. And then they said the 8 is reserved and ready for Brexton Busch when he is ready to go NASCAR racing. Let that land for a moment. Brexton Busch just turned 11 years old. He celebrated his birthday only days before his father passed away. In the days that followed, Brexton changed his Instagram profile picture to a photo of himself and his dad together. The image that has been circulating online all week is from Pocono Raceway in 2021. Kyle had just won the race, and he's launching little Brexton into the air in victory lane, both of them with the biggest smiles you've ever seen. That photograph now carries a weight it was never meant to carry. But it also shows exactly what that relationship was. Kyle wasn't just a father who happened to be a race car driver. He was raising Brexton to follow the same road he traveled. Brexton got behind a wheel for the first time at age 5. By the time he turned 11, he had already accumulated over 100 race victories in youth competition. He won at the Bandolero event during the Cookout 225 at Florence Motor Speedway, leading every single lap from the pole. He's been a fixture in the paddock on race weekends for years, almost always somewhere near his dad's car, absorbing everything around him. In an interview with Charlotte Motor Speedway, Brexton said he wanted to make it to the Cup Series because his dad raced there and he wanted one day to be like him. That quote is different now. It carries everything. Kyle had made no secret of the fact that guiding Brexton up through the racing ranks and eventually into NASCAR's top series was the plan. It was what he was working toward beyond his own career. Richard Childress Racing heard all of that, and their response was to lock the 8 away until Brexton is ready to claim it. This isn't the first time RCR has done something like this, and that history matters here. When Dale Earnhardt Sr. died in Daytona in February of 2001, RCR pulled the number 3 from competition immediately. Kevin Harvick was brought in to drive the car that season, but it ran as the number 29. The number 3 stayed off the Cup Series grid for 13 years. It came back in 2014 when Richard Childress's own grandson, Austin Dillon, was ready to carry it. RCR held that number through more than a decade of pressure to put it back on a car, and they never wavered. 25 years later, Richard Childress Racing is walking the same road. This time, the difference is that from the very first day, they named the person the number is waiting for. Now let's talk about who Kyle Busch actually was, because the numbers demand to be said out loud. He won 63 Cup races across his career, ranking 9th on the all-time list. He won 102 races in the Xfinity Series, a record that may stand forever. He won 69 Truck Series races, also a record. Combined across NASCAR's 3 national series, Kyle Busch won 234 races, more than any driver in the history of the sport. He was a Cup Series champion in 2015 and again in 2019. Two-time champion, first ballot Hall of Famer. The man who arrived at Joe Gibbs Racing in 2008 and spent 15 seasons rewriting the record books before moving to RCR in 2023, switching from Toyota to Chevrolet, and winning in just his second start with his new team at Auto Club Speedway. He was polarizing in the way that only the truly great ones can be. You either loved Rowdy or you couldn't stand him, and either way, you were watching. He made the sport loud and sharp and interesting in a way that very few drivers ever have. His last post-race interview, on May 15th, what would turn out to be his final one, ended with him saying, "You never know when the last one is going to be, so cherish them all." He said, "Trust me." Nobody knew how close those words were cutting. The response from fans across social media has been overwhelming. Tributes have poured in from every corner of the NASCAR community and well beyond it. A flag was raised in Kyle's honor outside Charlotte Motor Speedway. A small memorial was built by fans outside Daytona International Speedway, near the Tours building. The sport came back to the track Friday under something heavier than grief. It came back still trying to understand that this had actually happened. This weekend's Coca-Cola 600 is going to be unlike any race in recent memory. 600 miles under the lights at Charlotte, the longest race on the NASCAR calendar, and Kyle Busch won't be in it. Drivers who have raced alongside him, against him, and because of him will line up on pit road knowing he's supposed to be there. Fans in the grandstands will look down at where the number 8 should be sitting and see a 33 instead. There will be helmet decals and paint schemes and moments of silence and probably tears in victory lane regardless of who takes the checkered flag, because this weekend cannot just be a race. It has to be something more. What Richard Childress Racing did with the number 8 is not a small gesture. It is a promise. It says that Kyle Busch's place in this sport isn't finished just because he is gone. It says that the story has a next chapter, and that chapter belongs to his son. The 8 will wait, however long it takes, and when Brexton Busch is old enough and fast enough and ready enough to step into a Cup Series car, that number will be there on the door waiting for him exactly as his father left it. The number 8 isn't gone. It's just parked, and one day it's going to come back loud. Our deepest condolences go to Samantha, to Brexton, to Lennox, to Kurt, and to every member of the Busch family. May Kyle rest in the kind of peace that a man who drove that hard for that long has more than earned.